Hello friends, today we'll see Golang config management. So we'll use the library Viper for the config management, and we'll see how to change the config files dynamically. So no need to restart the application, and this is the one of the challenging stuff any application usually face. And we can see how the Viper library covered that nicely. And you can see the code in this location, and then under that there will be day 3 and the Golang folder and then code. So we'll see this thing today, and after this in the next video we'll talk the similar stuff in a Spring Boot. How will you manage the configuration in a Spring Boot? So let's go and see a little bit about the Viper, then we'll add the code there. So this is the Viper, GitHub come and SPF3 Viper. And you see here, if you go down, the Viper, there are many things. You go here and you can read this, and you'll get a lot of idea from here. But I'm just going to cover a few things from there. I'm going to use the YAML file to configure our application, and we also see how to change the configuration dynamically, and then our application will take that. Okay, so based on this, let's see here how to start. Okay, so we need this thing, sp3 Viper. So let me search somewhere Viper. Oh, we can use this one. So I can just copy this GitHub. Let me bring our application, and then we'll go from there. So here is our application, and then we'll use the Viper library here. So what usually we do first, import that, then usually I do like this, and then put the underscore, and we want to bring this library in a Go mod. So if you see here, there is no Viper. So what we usually do right here, and Go mod init, not init, Go mod tidy. Okay, that's now we can see the Viper is here. So the first thing, we add the library like this, and then do go mod tidy. Then in this way, there will be entry in a go mod. Okay, so that's good. So now we have the Viper here. How to start this? Let's borrow some code from this place. Let me bring this screen here first, and then okay. Oh, it's here on the go get. So yeah, actually we wanted that. So I already did that. So the next thing is we need the file name. So let's say this is this is the file name, and we need a YAML file. So let's copy these two lines. Copy this and come to our project. Okay, here store after this main. Okay, so our config file is config and then YML. Config YML. So the next, we'll go to the project code, right click, new file, and you can say the file name is config YAML. So config YAML. So that's our configuration file, and we created a file here. The next thing is we'll go and see the documentation once again. So this line is saying go and look that file in that location. That's the current location. So I will add that line 2. The next thing is read the config. So let's copy this block. Come to this place and you can read the configuration file. And if there's an error, like the Viper config file not found, if there's an error, we can print out the error. So select fmt error and error reading config file. Then you can print the error itself. So you can print the error in this line. Else there can be some other error. So for that also we print the error. Error occurred by reading config file, and then we can print the error. And if there's an error, we do not want to proceed. So that's why let's return from here. Okay, we did good job here. Now there is an extra bracket. It seems it's a bit closed here. So okay, let's move one tab and then this tab here. So our indentation is correct. Let's run and see if there's any error or not. So I'm just running here. It's very tiny. Go run cmd code main go. Okay, there's no error. Okay, that's fine. So till here we just added the config file and we're trying to read. Let's add some content in a config file. So what I want to add, like let's run and I'll show you. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, the application is running. So I will go to this place and then HTTP localhost and then API status. So here we see up and running. So this string, we want to get this thing from configuration. So this application, this is also we are getting from the config. This one also getting from the config. But that's two things, but this is the hard coded. So let's get it from the config, but this time we'll use the Viper and see, how it's working. Okay, so what I do, I'll copy this and go to services, and in the services, see here app status. So this one we are getting from from this file. So this is the hard coded. So now let's put that in a config. So this time what I'm going to do, we created a file config YAML. So in this place we can add the config YAML. So the format is simple for the YAML file. So let's say I'll do here config app. Then under the app, I can also give fix the that the config name here itself. But if you have like the more config name related to some section, then or let's say some names we can group together. We can group together like this. So let's say that's a top name, that's a group name. So app, and under app, I want to say app message. So let's say it's the app message. Well, app is already there, so just delete app. So that means app message and app message colon. Then in double quotes, you can say quote of let's say app is up and running. Okay, so that's good. Now we want to get this message in a quote. So in order to do that, let's go to the services here. And in this place, we want to get that from the config. Okay, let's see the documentation again from the Hyper. Okay, we read that file. Now come to this place and see how to get the data. It's a Viper set. There should be Viper gate. Okay, see here, there's a Viper gate. But in order to use the Viper, uh, we have to import the Viper. So go to the main first, and we already did this thing. Viper, copy this. Go to this service, and on top, use this Viper, and then in this place, what you can do, Viper dot get, and see here we can get string, boolean, float, and all those things here. So we need the string, and in the double quotes we can give this name. We know message is under app, so we give the app and then dot message. So app dot message. Okay, that's all. So our message in a config is app is up and running, and here we'll see just up and running. So start the application once again. Okay, application is started, there's no error, and if I refresh this page, now you can see, okay, app is up and running. So in this way, we are getting uh, this value from the config. So that's good. We achieved our first milestone, that we used the Viper here to get the data from the configuration. So next thing is, like, let's change that data. Like app, I can say quote is up and running. I change this and refresh the page. So come here and refresh. No, so still we do not see, saying still saying, okay, app is up and running. So that's not good. So okay, so the next thing what we are targeting is, to change the config files dynamically. No need to restart the application. But now we change the configuration, and if you want to see that change, then we have to restart the application, and that's not good. So how to achieve that? Let's see the Hyper documentation once again. Here, that's a Hyper documentation, and there is something. That's a read config. Go put down. Okay, yeah, this is the one. Hyper on config change. So we can use this stuff here. So just copy this, go to our code, okay, and in the main, we have to add this thing right after read in config. So I added this. Let's indent it. So, okay, and in this case, we're saying, okay, Viper on config change. If there's a config change, then give this message, config file changed, and that new change will be taken by application. So in order to do that, I see there is a fs notify. Let's import this one too. So what to do, github.com. Okay, yeah, it's here. Okay, so we imported this, and this time change this back, like let's say app is up and running. Stop the application now and run it again. Okay, it's running. Now see here. Okay, let's hit the API and now we can see, okay, app is up and running. So 9 seconds. It changed the config. So instead of app, port, and just save this file. And now we see config file changed. We got that message. That's okay. Let's see here. Just refresh this page and see what is happening. Oh, nice. The port is up and running. So now we can change the config dynamically. So this way it will be very helpful, like once we deploy the application and then we want to change some configure stuff. So in that way, in that case, it will be very useful. You might be thinking, we can restart the application, but that's not a good use case, because the application, once our application is up and running in a production, there are many users uh, working on that, and it's not good to make our application down. So it should be up and running, and in that case, this will be very helpful that we can change the config dynamically. Okay, so that's all for today, and next we'll see how we can achieve the similar stuff using a Spring Boot. Okay, thank you.